One fund on point for today, the experts to talk about it. Welcome to the ETF of the Week. Yes, this is the ETF of the Week, where we examine trending, new, newsworthy, unique, and intriguing exchange-traded funds with Todd Rosenbluth. He's the head of research at VettaFi. You'll know why we talk to him if you go to VettaFi.com and you check out the research there that they do on ETFs, which will help you become a savvier, smarter investor in exchange-traded funds. Todd Rosenbluth, great to chat with you again.
It's great to be back.
Your ETF of the Week is
the NEOS Bitcoin High Income ETF, BTCI.
BTCI, the NEOS Bitcoin High Income ETF. I have so many questions, but since we start with of the week, and Bitcoin can be one of the most volatile assets in any week, is there a specific reason why we're talking about a Bitcoin fund, and this is not your average Bitcoin fund, but why a Bitcoin fund, and then why this Bitcoin fund this week?
So I came back from vacation and saw that BTCI, which is a fund that launched in October, had crossed the $500 million mark in assets under management. It's seen over 300 million of net inflows in the last few months. It's yielding 27%. I'm sure we'll get into the weeds on that one. And we've talked about Bitcoin in a number of different ways. We've talked about options or premium income ETFs in a number of different ways. I thought this brought those things together. This fund is performing well. It's popular. It's relatively new and innovative. Why not? Let's talk about it as ETF of the week.
Well, I love it that we're discussing this fund. So let's first point out that, it wasn't that long ago that the first spot Bitcoin ETFs were being created, or the first, they're not spot because you cannot hold physical Bitcoin the way you can gold, but the idea being ETFs that were built solely around the price of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies are a fairly new development. This is a twist on that because it has this high income thing, and high income and Bitcoin, high capital gains makes sense. High income and Bitcoin seems like a bit of an oxymoron, like it shouldn't go together. So explain how this fund works, because it's not your typical Bitcoin.
So regular listeners should probably be familiar with the firm NEOS. We've talked about them and some of their other products that are options based, where they use options in order to generate income, above average income. For the equity side, it's been in the low double-digit percentage, 10, 12% is a good income stream for some of those more traditional equity products. So this is using the options tied to Bitcoin. So you're right, Bitcoin ETFs, the original Bitcoin ETFs that offer direct exposure to it came out in January of last year, of 2024. Towards the end of last year, we saw the beginning of trading of options. This ETF from NEOS, experts within the field of using options within the ETF wrapper, came out in October. And it's performed very well. It's generated above average income on a consistent basis. That may be one of the questions that you get to, but you can look at the monthly distributions, which has been relatively steady. The yield doesn't always stay the same in the 25% plus range, but it's certainly up there. But that income stream, that distribution, has consistently been above $1.30, $1.40 on a monthly basis. This is a great way of getting exposure for people who are comfortable having an options within their ETF wrapper and to generate above average income.
27% yield. Nobody looks at a yield that high and thinks that's real. This is a fairly new fund. How is it generating that yield and making it real? And how much do you worry that when market conditions change, it's going to wind up changing?
So if folks want to see how real it is, can look back. And now it's not a long period of time. We're about 9 months of monthly distributions. By the time people are seeing and hearing this, we will probably hit the August one. I think it comes out in the 23rd, 24th. So folks will be able to see there's enough of a track record to get a sense of how consistent that is. Bitcoin has been volatile in this year, so you get the benefits of the volatility in terms of the options. Yields that high. I'm an old equity guy. Maybe you're not as old. You're not an equity guy that's listening to this. But dividend yields that are high makes it sound like the dividend is going to get cut. That's just different than how it is with options-based strategies that we have in the ETF wrapper that make this simple for you. So that income is going to be relatively consistent. We think this is a way of getting exposure and to Bitcoin and reducing volatility by generating that income to provide an offset. It's actually outperformed, it being BTCI has outperformed those traditional Bitcoin ETFs, IBIT, and others this year because of that income stream and the potential for more.
I know you are not a moving average guy, but this is a fund that is going to have a lot of volatility because it's, what it's tied to and everything else. And if you were a moving average guy, well, it just got to a 200-day moving average, which it's above, but it's below the 50, right around the 50 and the 20. So that would suggest that the trend might be changing. With a fund like this, even though you are not normally a trend follower, do you put different parameters on it? Like, are you willing to make this something that you're not holding for a week, but you're holding for years with a set allocation? How do you make this work in a portfolio for investors who the rest of their things do not perform at all like this?
Right. So I think of this as a potential strategic allocation for investors, advisors that want to have exposure to Bitcoin as an alternative to stocks or bonds within their portfolio. So you're getting some of the benefits of bonds in that income, well above average income than you'd find within fixed income, but much more volatility. So I don't think of this as a bond replacement. I don't really think of this as an equity, within your equity part of it. Alternatives, we tend to find for advisors and investors that are getting exposure to alternatives, it's around 5%, and I'm ballparking here, of your exposure. So for folks that already have Bitcoin within their portfolio through a traditional ETF or otherwise, this is an alternative to that to generate income, or this can complement that. So it can reduce the volatility and generate income. I feel like I'm going to repeat myself 7 more times and say, and generate income, but it's 27%. So that's part of the story that you're getting with BTCI. And what you're getting is the benefits of a professional management team from NEOS that is trading options on a regular basis. They do this for equity and fixed income oriented products. This is one of their alternative products to get exposure. So long answer to, I think this can be a strategic allocation that can fit into a portfolio but have an income component as opposed to just riding the volatility up or down of traditional Bitcoin.
We frequently talk about new ETFs or funds that are newish and how long you want to give them, etc. And obviously, with 500 million in assets, this fund passes the critical mass test. Like, it's got that down. What it hasn't done yet is live through a period where Bitcoin goes on a protracted downside run. Do you want to wait? Like for people who are skeptical, and we've addressed why they might be, but for people who are skeptical, do they want to put this on their watch list, but watch it until they see how it does when Bitcoin takes a bender before they buy it?
So, sure, you certainly could do so, and I think this is on the watch list of many people beforehand. It's a more, do you have confidence in Bitcoin and the price of it from the valuation now? I'm not knowledgeable. I'm not an expert in Bitcoin. I don't have an assessment as to is now the right time, given the run that we've had, given what's going on in the regulatory environment, given what the administration's focus is tied to cryptocurrency, if now is the right time to be having Bitcoin exposure. I think you have to make that decision first, and then this is a interesting way, a unique way to generate income and have as an alternative to your regular part of your portfolio, or towards getting an alternative to having I'll use the term spot Bitcoin. That's what people are saying, spot Bitcoin ETF. So instead of owning IBIT or FBTC, those are the iShares and Fidelity ETFs that are available, the NEOS product is an alternative to that. You'd have to decide that you want to have Bitcoin in your portfolio and decide that now is the right time to do so. If you want to wait till Bitcoin pulls back, yeah, this is a great way of generating income when that time is right.
I want to ask a question that I suspect you may want to dodge. But because we made other Bitcoin ETFs, ETF of the week, especially when they first came out, if somebody is making their first foray into cryptocurrency ETFs and they have the chance to go with the classic one, or they have the chance to go with this one, so they can do the spot versus the income generator, do you have a preference? Do you like one versus the other if we're talking about an investor making an allocation?
So I think it comes down to the use case for an ETF within your portfolio. So if you're looking for capital appreciation tied to the price of Bitcoin, there are lots of great ways, and all full disclosure, cheaper ways to get exposure to Bitcoin. If what you're looking for is income in an environment, and we continue to talk about premium income or alternative income strategies, because the expectation is rates are going to come down. The Fed is going to cut interest rates. People are looking for above average income in other formats. Then this product is unique and is offering you a very competitive yield to lean into Bitcoin and get income, and could pair very well with an enhanced income equity strategy. NEOS is one of the firms that offers them. Some are, so are the others. I'm sorry. So are some of the others, he says more directly. NEOS is an expert in this space. I think they're the only ones that are offering something like this. $500 million shows you that other investors buy into this too.
It's BTCI, the NEOS Bitcoin High Income ETF. Not your standard ETF, also not your standard ETF of the week. Todd, great stuff. Thanks as always for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Chuck.
The ETF of the week is a joint production of VettaFi and Moneylife with Chuck Jaffe. And yeah, I'm Chuck Jaffe. I'd love it if you check out my hour-long weekday podcast by going to MoneyLifeShow.com, by searching for it wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And if you're searching for information on your favorite ETFs, or maybe your next favorite ETFs, well, go to VettaFi.com, where they've got a full suite of tools that will make you a better investor. The ETF of the week is here for you every Thursday. Make sure you don't miss an episode by following along on your favorite podcast app.